Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles, and on this episode we're going to be talking about the sale of WWE. Now, from everything I'm seeing, I don't think it's an actual sale, it's more of a merger. Endeavor, the company that is the parent company of UFC, has said that they're going to merge UFC and WWE into a sports and entertainment conglomerate. Endeavor has done very well with UFC, and this is all being reported by CNBC, so it is coming from credible sources, and I believe there's a bunch of other companies that are copying the initial report and reporting it as well. Now, what does this merger/sale mean for WWE? Let's talk about that. First off, Vince McMahon is going to stay in his position as the executive chair of WWE, executive chairman. Nick Khan is going to stay in his position as the president of the WWE. And from what I'm hearing and what I've read, Triple H is going to be the one that stays in control of creative. Endeavor likes the way that Triple H has been running it the past few months, and I would venture to say, so does Vince McMahon. I gotta imagine Vince will have some power, some control over creative. He can veto stuff or put something through that not necessarily Triple H would want. It's going to be kind of like one of those things where you have a sports team and there's a general manager and then the coach of the team, or the coach or the GM can pick the players all they want, but if the owner of the team decides, hey, let's say football, I'm bringing in Tom Brady, the coach and the GM really have no say because the owner wants Tom Brady, he's going to bring in Tom Brady. Same thing could happen here. Vince McMahon could say one day, I want Omos to be the world champion. Might not be in Triple H's plans, but that's what the boss is asking for. And if Endeavor's okay with that, and they're okay with the way the power structure is set, that is something we're going to have to look for. Some of the big things coming out of this, is this going to be beneficial to the wrestlers? Now, I can look at this in a couple ways. One of them would be Endeavor also runs a talent agency, which I believe Nick Khan actually worked for at some point. And I believe the owner of Endeavor is the person that Ari from Entourage was based on, if I've read my stories right and I'm remembering it properly. This is very early in the morning that I'm recording this after not getting much sleep after recording my review of WrestleMania Night 2 last night. With them being connected to a talent agency, say someone like a John Cena, a Roman Reigns, wants to go and pursue movies, they could say, okay, we're going to give you 6 months off. Here's movies that we're working on. Here's movies you could go check out. We'll help you get roles. If you like it, you do this, we do that. Stay in both worlds. I think that's going to be mutually beneficial. I also think it'll be beneficial for, say, someone like MJF or Ricky Starks. They come up as a free agent and they're thinking, I'd like to do movies as well. Well, you have AEW that may have some connections, or you have this company that has a talent agency that could get you into movies. Which one do you go for? If the money's the same and you're looking to be someone that branches out, do you go there? It's a good question. How does this make it look for free agents? That's another thing for the talent pool. Merging with UFC, let's say you have a guy like a Chael Sonnen that comes along, who's obviously a great talker and would fit perfectly in the world of WWE. And not saying that Chael was a bad UFC performer, he was fantastic. But let's say someone like Chael is struggling in UFC, he has a 2-4 record, but people buy his tickets to see his shows. You could transfer that guy over into WWE. Get them trained, have them come in. That magnetism is going to carry over. And that's something they could also do with both the Performance Center that I'm sure they're going to keep and the different UFC fight clubs. They could take their UFC performers, bring them to the Performance Center, have them learn how to cut promos there, how to talk people into a room, how to sell a pay-per-view, which will benefit UFC. And on the same note, if you have some WWE talent that's coming into the company and you want to get them some basic mat-based talent, who better to send them to than someone like Duke Rufus, who helped train CM Punk, or have them go through a fight camp with someone like Francis Ngannou. The synergy is there and it could benefit both companies. The couple things that I think could hurt, could it put a little bit of a stink on UFC where people start questioning, is UFC real? Are the outcomes predetermined? That might happen. I don't think it will, but it might. I think we're in a world where people understand that you could have two entities under the same umbrella and then be separate, kind of like how Disney has Marvel and Star Wars. You don't expect Luke Skywalker to show up in the next Iron Man movie, and you don't expect the Hulk to be fighting Darth Vader. Although that would be rather cool. I think that'd be rad as hell. So there's that. The other thing I could see, it might be a positive, it might be a negative. Now Endeavor is going to have full control over the negotiation rights. And if I'm Endeavor, I'm going to want to package everything. I want to package commercials. If you're Miller Lite and you want to buy some time, you're buying time on UFC and WWE. Do you want to be on the next UFC pay-per-view? Okay, you could do that. Do you want to also package in WWE Backlash? We'll give you a discount if you do them together. Boom. Now you got sponsorships for both. Conversely, their content. As of right now, UFC is doing tremendous business on ESPN Plus, and the model is different than what us fans of wrestling understand. For UFC, their deal with ESPN Plus, first you have to have ESPN Plus before you can even buy a pay-per-view. So you have to buy a subscription service to have the right to buy a pay-per-view. Now, will that work for WWE? We've been trained for the last 10 years between Peacock and the WWE Network that paying $9.99 or $15.99, whatever it may be in your part of the world, is what we pay monthly, and we get all the pay-per-views with that. It's one of the big selling points to me of Peacock. I wouldn't purchase a Peacock membership if I didn't have that pay-per-view every month. Because to me, let's say I buy the big four: WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, SummerSlam. Let's say they're $75 each, so that's $300 for all four. Now I'm also paying $15 a month for Peacock. Multiply that by 12. That's $180. So just buying those four pay-per-views compared to paying for a yearly subscription and getting all the pay-per-views, that's a big difference. That's a $120 difference. I don't know that wrestling fans are going to be willing to do that. I don't know that wrestling fans are going to want to pay $75 for a Backlash. And I'm going off of the UFC pay-per-view pricing. They would for WrestleMania. They would for Royal Rumble maybe. But I think the better option would be for UFC to take over the WWE model. I think it's a better model to my opinion. And full disclosure, I'm someone that used to watch every UFC pay-per-view. We used to get together, me and a few friends, and we'd split the bill. Let's say it was $50. We'd all pitch in $10 and watch the pay-per-view. When they got to the point where they were running 2-3 pay-per-views a month, we started to wean off because it started to not be as important. There was a point where you could get 2-3 championship matches on a pay-per-view, a big card. Now you might get one. That's my personal opinion. I'm not knocking UFC. There's some great talent there. When I do watch it, I do think that some of the fights are just as good and exciting as they always have been, but they've priced me out. And that's the point I'm trying to make here. I'm someone that was a fan that got priced out. Now, will that happen with WWE? I'm not paying $75 for Backlash. I don't think you're paying $75 for Backlash. Are you paying $75 for Money in the Bank pay-per-view? Probably not. You might drop it on WrestleMania, maybe SummerSlam, maybe Survivor Series, maybe the Royal Rumble, but the rest of the year, are you paying that same amount for every pay-per-view? I doubt it. I don't think I would either. I struggle with that idea every time an AEW pay-per-view comes up. Do I want to put down the $50? And more often than not, I do. And the reason is, more often than not, they give us a great pay-per-view. And that's not saying quality WWE. WWE has some great pay-per-views over the last year. It's all just a very interesting time. I'm excited to see what the future brings, but I'm trepidatious because there's a couple things. Once you get big companies involved, let's say WWE has a 3-year downturn where they're losing money. Do they shut down WWE? Let's say they don't like Triple H's booking all of a sudden. Do they bring someone in like WCW did, where they brought in people that had nothing to do with wrestling? These are questions you got to ask when you have a company running the business instead of a person. Good, bad, or indifferent, everything you could say about Vince McMahon, there's always been one person that was where the buck stopped. That can be circumvented now. There are levels above his head now. He doesn't have final say. Someone over him does. How is that going to work? We're all going to see here in a few minutes, or a few months, and a few years. I just wanted to jump on, give a quick video, a quick my thoughts right off the bat of what's happening. It's going to be interesting to see going forward. Let me know what you think down here in the comments. Let me know what you think is the biggest plus or the biggest minus, or both. Put it down here in the comments. If you made it this far, Smash that like button, share the video, subscribe if you haven't. With that being said, my name is George Coles, and this has been another Heel Heat video.